My name is Sienna Hart. I'm 32 and on paper my life looks like something people admire. I run a successful chain of artisan bakeries in San Diego, places people describe as inspiring. But success has a strange way of hiding the parts of your story that never really heal. Because no matter how far I've come, there's one sound that still pulls me back instantly: the sharp, relentless ringing of a phone. It happened again that day. Unknown number. Then again. And again. I didn't answer. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Then 30. I kept moving through the bakery like nothing was wrong, checking ovens, icing cakes, signing invoices. But my hands were trembling and I knew exactly who it was. Or at least, who it had to be. Because the last time I waited for those people I was 8 years old. Sitting with a small suitcase in a place that smelled like bleach in silence. Listening to promises that I now know were never meant to be kept. My family didn't fall apart all at once. From the outside we looked normal. Sun-faded house, weekend routines, small laughter that filled the gaps. My brother was easygoing, my little sister full of energy. Me. I was the one who noticed things. The cracks started quietly. My father lost his job. My mother picked up more shifts. Conversations turned into arguments, whispers into shouting. The kind of tension that sits in your chest even when no one says a word. Then came the night everything shifted. We can't keep living like this. Then leave. A week later they told us they were separating. Soft voices, careful words, rehearsed reassurances. They said it wasn't our fault. They said they loved us. But love sounds different when choices follow. My brother went with my mother. My sister with my father. Me. I wasn't chosen. I heard them argue about it. Not whether they wanted me, but who had to take me. Until finally one sentence landed harder than anything else. Maybe just for a little while, we can place her somewhere. Somewhere. 2 days later I was dropped off at a place called Hope House. They called it temporary. A few weeks, they said. They told me they'd come back. They didn't. And now, decades later, as my phone kept ringing in that quiet office, I realized something chilling. The people who never came back had finally found a reason to call. But what changed after all these years? And why did they suddenly need me now? The first night at Hope House I didn't cry. Not because I wasn't scared, but because I still believed them. I thought they'd come back. I slept in my clothes, shoes still on, just in case I had to leave quickly. Just in case headlights pulled into the parking lot late at night. I wanted to be ready. The room had 4 beds. One girl cried quietly. Another stared at the ceiling like she'd already learned not to expect anything. I didn't speak. I just listened. The next morning I claimed a spot near the window. That became my place. From there I could see every car that pulled in. Every door that opened. Every chance that it might finally be them. At noon a white car arrived. My heart jumped so fast it hurt. But it wasn't them. Just a volunteer with supplies. That was the beginning. Days turned into routines. Wake up. Stay quiet. Don't stand out. Don't cry where others can see you. Hope was dangerous there. Older kids could spot it instantly, and they hated it. Not because they were cruel but because they knew how it ended. One girl asked me, "Did they say they'd come back?" I nodded. He shrugged. "They always say that." That was the first time something inside me cracked. By the second week, even the staff stopped using words like, "when." They switched to "if." And that tiny change in language changed everything. I stopped sitting by the window. But I never stopped listening. 4 footsteps. 4 voices. For something that meant I hadn't been forgotten. My caseworker tried to soften things. She talked about delays and complications. She made calls that were never returned. Eventually I overheard the truth. "They're not responding." Not responding. Such a clean phrase for something so brutal. It didn't say abandoned. It didn't say unwanted. It just quietly erased responsibility. By the time my 9th birthday passed, with no call, no card, no sign of them, I stopped asking questions. That's when I changed. I became useful. Helpful kids don't get noticed. They don't get moved around as much. They survive longer. So I cleaned. Helped. Stayed invisible. But at night when everything was quiet, one thought kept coming back. My mother took my brother. My father took my sister. And nobody took me. I thought surviving Hope House was the hardest part. But I had no idea what was waiting for me next. Foster care wasn't the rescue I imagined. It was just Different versions of temporary. Different houses. Different rules. Same feeling. In one home I slept on a couch with no door. My clothes stayed in trash bags like I was always about to leave. In another there were too many kids and not enough attention. Food disappeared quickly and so did any sense of belonging. Then came the worst kind. Not loud. Not violent. Just quietly cruel. A woman who smiled in public and dismantled you in private. Comments disguised as advice. Words that made you question your worth. Maybe if you were easier to love. That one stayed with me. By then I had learned something important. Once people know you've already been left, they assume you can handle more damage. So I adapted. I got good at disappearing. But everything shifted in the most unexpected place. A kitchen. It started with volunteer work. Something they labeled character building. That's where I met Chef Ramon. He didn't treat me like a problem to manage. He treated me like someone capable of learning. He showed me how to measure flour, how to wake yeast, how patience could transform simple ingredients into something meaningful. The first time I baked bread that rose properly, I just stared at it. Because for once, something worked the way it was supposed to. Effort led to result. Care led to change. That was new to me. Kept going back. Learning more. Practicing whenever I could. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't just surviving. I was building something. Another adult noticed too. A school counselor who saw beyond my situation. She helped me get into a culinary program. That's when things really started to shift. Not all at once. Not magically. But steadily. I still had bad nights. Still had anger that felt too big to hold. But now there was something else growing alongside it. Purpose. By 17 I was trusted in the kitchen. By 18 I had a plan. And for the first time, my future didn't feel like something I had to escape. It felt like something I could create. But building a life from nothing comes at a cost. And I was about to find out just how expensive stability really is. At 18 I aged out of the system with a duffel bag and a scholarship. No safety net. No family waiting. Just me. I moved to San Diego, worked early mornings at a diner, nights at a bakery, and studied in between. I lived on coffee, exhaustion, and determination that felt more like anger some days. But something was working. I started selling pastries at a weekend market. At first it was just survival, gas money, textbooks. But then something unexpected happened. People came back. They brought others. They asked where my shop was. I didn't have one yet. But for the first time, yet felt real. That's when I met Tessa. She saw my work and immediately told me I was underpricing everything. No sugarcoating, no pity. Just honesty. He became my first real friend. Then came Adrian. Quiet, patient, observant. He didn't rush me, didn't try to fix me. He just stayed. And that mattered more than anything. With time, effort, and a lot of risk, I built something real. One shop became 2. Then more. By 32 I owned 8 locations. A life that felt stable. Earned. Right. I stopped looking for my family. Stopped wondering if they'd come back. I didn't need them anymore. And then, the interview happened. I told part of my story. Not everything, but enough. And within days my phone started ringing. And again. And again. Voicemails. Messages. Familiar voices I hadn't heard in over 20 years. They said they missed me. Said they wanted to reconnect. Said there was so much I didn't understand. But timing tells you everything. Because they didn't come back when I was struggling. They came back when I succeeded. So I agreed to meet them, but not on their terms. On mine. I made them come to me. My space. My rules. When they walked into my bakery they looked like a family again. For a second. Then reality set in. Because families don't leave one child behind. They started talking. Explaining. Justifying. Hard times. Stress. Confusion. I listened. Then I gave them something they didn't expect. Proof. Records. Documents. Dates. Everything they tried to forget or rewrite. You didn't lose me, I said. You left me. And then I told them everything. The homes. The hunger. The silence. The years of being invisible. I didn't stop when they cried. They were decades late for that. Then came the real reason they were there. Not closure. Need. Illness. Money. Problems. They saw my success and thought it meant access. That was their mistake. I told them clearly. I didn't build this life for them to return and benefit from it. No money. No rescue. No pretending we were a family again. Just truth. And boundaries. The only exception, my sister. Because she was a child too. Lied to just like me. So I left a door open barely. But for the rest? Closed. Not out of revenge. But out of respect for the life I fought to build. Because the real victory wasn't making them regret it. It was this. They saw what I became without them. And they knew they had no part in it. And if there's one truth I carry forward, it's this. Family isn't about who shares your blood. It's about who chooses to stay when leaving would be easier.
Before you go, if you think this story was shocking, you need to watch this next one. Because what happened there was even more unbelievable. Tap the video.